r/AskReddit by Reddify. People of Reddit. What is the most no one knows job that pays really good amount of money? Nuclear divers. You only have to work once every few months because of the amount of radiation you receive, and can make up to $100,000 per year. The superpowers are an added perk. Have grown a third testicle. Can confirm. Every job done on a cruise liner or a trading vessel will be paid far more than the same job on land. Plus you don't have time to spend any. Only on alcohol in the staff bar, where you'll spend a large chunk of your free time. Some people put down trade jobs such as plumbing, welder, etc. because they do not require a college degree after completing trade school. And if you are accepted into a union, you can make a more than decent amount of money and have great benefits to go with it. There are more alternatives than college, where you can make a living for yourself, and getting a trade is a great alternative. On top of getting a good job, you also avoid the student debt. Be aware that some occupations are tough on the body. You may not like it so much after kneeling on roofs for 20 years. 51-year-old contractor here. Every day it's a new ache. I threw my back out rinsing a paintbrush. Been in pain 4 days now. FML. My dad used to shoot wildlife that would stray onto airport runways, and he was on about $65K a year. Ike. Buddy of mine did that. Replaced him with a falcon. I wish I could replace my friends with falcons. Maybe this is common knowledge, but I just learned that UPS drivers get compensated pretty well. I got a friend who is a UPS driver. Can confirm the pay is decent, but he works his ass off. Actuaries. Not truly no one knows per se, but a lot of people aren't really aware of them. Let me save you some time. Reddit. The examinations are brutal. You will cry and hate yourself unless you're a masochist with a fetish for numbers. Exams are a joke compared to getting a job. I have 4 exams, 2 internships, and never worked as an actuary full time. Please read Future Actuaries. Get a ducking job while you're in school. The second you graduate, your career is dead if you don't already have a job or an industry connection. Edit only applies to the US. Tech for events. The grunts do okay, but the guys with any skill do well. Corporate events pay better, but concerts don't build themselves. Like anywhere, you'll run into cheap employers. This is a red flag. You might not get paid at all. Avoid these assholes. There are plenty of gigs that pay well on time. Edit. Wow. This blew up. Ask your riots local what skills they pay the most for and what they need most. It won't be steady for a while, but get your name out there. If you want a company gig, ask which companies they'd work for if they wanted that sort of gig. You'll learn a lot from what they say, regardless of what you choose to do. RN. I'm making $60/HR to scratch my butt. Nothing next week, but that's okay with me. Inf. I was thinking of going into something like this as a part-time/weekend gig. There's a company here in particular that needs people to set up / break down concerts and festivals and staff all sorts of events. Heads up. Don't go with an independent company. My ex-GF went to school for sound and light design for live shows and works for a company called Sav. A big huge corporate setup. The job's not glamorous, but she decided to moonlight with an independent company on the side for one weekend. Took the duckers literally 4 months to pay her $700, and that was only after she constantly emailed them, then finally threatened them with legal action. Celebrity dog walker. It's a great job. This morning Mila Kunis took my Spaniel around the park. Who are you? The exton of a church who gets paid a substantial salary with benefits and pension to ring the steeple bells on the hour between bell ringing sessions. He polishes the brass in the church and gets it ready for funerals, weddings and weekend services. But most of the time, he acts as a tour guide for those visiting the building on weekdays who want to see the church's original Tiffany stained glass windows. I had no idea exting was so lucrative, but he has to be really good at polishing the brass. Sales professional at luxury retail stores. I worked at a jewelry store in Las Vegas making over $100K/year and being under 30 years old. If you are with the right company and in the right city, commission is limitless. Being in the right location for the right brand is so important here. Though both would technically be luxury jewelry salespeople, there is a world of difference between working at a major brand in / near a major city vs working at K-jewelers in a strip mall near a sleepy suburban town. Life pro tip. Any jewelry store that I see there in a mall or runs ads during college football games aren't luxury jewelers. Specialist welders. My brother in the southeast makes $250k plus to do welding on nuclear projects. He has to have a security clearance and a bunch of unique training. He works ridiculous hours and spurts, but has a lot of downtime when a project is either being treated or he's waiting on some special metal to arrive. I've heard of underwater welders making similar money, but they have to live on a rig and most of it is really just hazard pay. Underwater welding is super dangerous and bad for your body. You get paid well cause you usually die before you reach 60 because of being exposed to hazardous chemicals. Exposed to hazardous chemicals. How would that work? I assume if you are welding underwater, you are going to be on breathing gear and wearing a wetsuit or similar. So how would you get exposed to anything? Elevator tradesman. An older brother of a friend of mine had this job and did indeed make a very good living. The only real catch was he was almost always on call. We would be hanging out at like 11 PM pounding air and playing video games, and then the older brother would go to piss and come back in his work jumpsuit like gotta go fix an elevator BRB. Thanks for adding runk elevator technicians to my list of things I worry about killing me. I have watched the last decade of people put themselves through university and college in programs that don't excite them. Now the market is saturated by people who expected to have a great job, but didn't understand the job market they entered into. The solution is to look where no one else is looking. Right now that's done with trades and apprenticeships. Regardless of where you end up, use your money to fuel whatever you are passionate about in life. And maybe you'll never have to work for anyone else. Good luck. Can confirm. Got a MIS degree with a 3.62 GPA. Bought a house at 25. Make a good salary at 27. Have $40,000 in my 401k already. I couldn't be more depressed. Yup. Worked in trades. Hated it. Money wasn't worth it to me. Now I'm still young. Have a different career with good pay. Benefits. Apt. Good company. Still not happy. Maybe I just hate working in general. I hate you not. At least according to an article I was reading in Business Insider a while back. So take that for what it is. Professional chicken X's, as in determining the X of, can earn $60k a year. I mean, that's not retire early money. But I think it's crazy high for feeling chicken peens for a living. Is this the job where you sort baby chickens on a conveyor belt and toss the male chickens into a grinder specifically because they are male and won't lay eggs? Yeah. 60k isn't near enough for me to do that. Physical penetration tester. You can pretend to be a ninja in a job like that. I remember watching a presentation on hacking elevators. The pen tester would stay in an elevator until after hours by just making it so the door never opened and no one was the wiser because there were 2 elevators. I did this a lot to get to the VIP floor at hotels. You just get in, hold door close until someone at the top floor that you're supposed to need a special card to access calls the elevator, and then bam, free buffet. A white guy can pretty much go to China and get paid to be a white guy. Either teaching English, no teaching experience required. Just need to speak English, or being paid to sit in on business meetings pretending to be an American investor. I need a job like this. My cousin studied in China for about a year. He is American and taught English when he wasn't at school. Not sure what he was being paid, but what you were being paid was decided more how you looked like. He had a friend from Holland. Tall, blonde and thin. Both my cousin and his friend from Holland tried to apply for a job as an English teacher for a private school that paid about twice as much as what you would get paid from working at a normal school. Anyways, the dude from Holland got the job just because he looks like a very stereotypical European according to what they think in China. TL. Doctor. American cousin and his Dutch friend tried to apply to teach English at a private school. American cousin didn't get the job. But Dutch friend did get the job because of how he looks. These threads kill me. There are so many skilled trades that pay great. Easily close to or at 6 figures. No. Not day one. As long as you are willing to work with your hands. Mechanics. HVAC. Plumbers. Electricians. Etc. Plenty make it and drink their life away every Friday because they do. And get the minimum. Plenty work hard and advance their knowledge base at every turn. What paralyzes people is their personal narrative. You feel like you have crossed a line permanently knocking you down a rung in a caste system that doesn't exist. If you get dirty for a little while, do what you have to do now and work toward what you want to do. My wife and I were liberal arts educated, piss poor waitress and mechanic respectively for a decade, while on our way to the $250,000 a year we make now. You are not your job. If you prefer to have a fancy title and live just above the poverty line, replete with business card and suit, there are plenty of people waiting to suck the life out of you. If you're willing to roll your sleeves up, you can have a pretty good life sooner than you think. This poor liberal arts grad here. What jobs did you and your wife end up with? How'd you get started? Over the course of 10 years I kept us in good financial shape through 2 recessions working on cars. I didn't want to, but I was good at it, and it paid well if you were good at it. She finished her masters, which she doesn't use, but got her in the door, and worked her way up the totem pole from an entry-level position doing market research. Once she was stable, I spent a year working my ass off paying off debt. Fixing anything that could take us out financially, i.e. car and house maintenance. We banked cash and used the budgeted money for now paid off debt for tuition. I went back to school again and became a critical care nurse. I'll enter grad school to be an NP this year likely. I can't express how important or damaging a partner's motivation, or lack thereof, can be. As far as part-time work, I valet and make around $30 an hour on average. It's a ton, when it is literally the easiest job in the world. Shut your brain off and run 4 cars. I would have to know how to drive a stick shift right. Correct. Totaling the car of someone who would even need valet is a nightmare to me. Driving a commuter train in Toronto, Canada pays $80k/year. I mean, you can be high on cocaine. You just have to watch your speed. Cassie Jones A. Working on a billionaire's yacht, they don't drive/cook/clean/serve/etc. themselves. They are also cheap AF and will pay you as little as legally possible. That's how you stay a billionaire. I don't have a college degree, but make around $70k in Wisconsin. Industrial inspection, NDE or NDT, mostly checking high pressure welds with X-ray, magnetics, etc. Downside is the hours. We'll end up with around 80 this week, and you don't always know your schedule. But it's alright for a mid-20s guy without kids or too many responsibilities. Took me about 2.5 years to get to this level. Started around 13 an hour, and now around 25. Company paid for me to go to class and get my certifications, which is how you get the raises. This is something I keep telling my friends that seem to have no skills and no way to get any. We have a community college nearby with a 14-month NDT program, and tons of factories and power plants nearby that want to hire you as either in-house or contractor. This guy is an EMT for an overpass shift at an oil rig in Alaska, I believe. He sits on Path of Exile all night in his trailer with Wi-Fi and a laptop. He's been working for 2 years and has had 3 calls, one of which was only a bear walking around in the vicinity of the outer fence. Makes about 200 grand a year. So basically the job which Liam Neeson does in the movie The Grey. Not only does it pay well, but we really need some new blood in the masonry industry. People, if you don't like school, don't go to college. Learn a trade. I work for a brick supply company. And you are totally correct. We always have masons coming and asking if we know of anyone looking for work. So much work in our area. Masons are getting top dollar and are booked out for months. I need to know where you're at. I'm getting ready to get out of the Navy. Was a CB, naval construction worker, and block and masonry were one of my main jobs, along with framing and carpentry. Construction is kinda dead in my home state, so I'm trying to find out where I could make a good living with these 5 years of experience. Well hit. Guys. I'm 17. Sophomore in high school. Need something that can pay $100 $200 a week. Thought either mowing lawns or dealing drugs is the answer. Thoughts? Edit. Holy hit. Already so many comments. Thanks guys. Folks will always appreciate a good grass guy. The hopefully intentional subtle joke here is fantastic. Being a court reporter pays extremely well. I live in Texas. The salaries for court reporters here average $75,000 and upwards, including retirement and paid vacation time. Even as a freelance deposition reporter you can make upwards of $100,000 if you put in the time. It's definitely a unique skill though. You need to have a strong command of the English language. The theory behind writing on steno machines is also incredibly unique. You will need to alter your normal ways of spelling to be able to write correctly. In Texas there is a state certification that must be passed before you can be licensed. Texas requires you to write at a speed of 225 strokes per minute for at least 5 minutes. The test is definitely a huge barrier for a lot of people to get licensed. Make sure to like and